Hi, everyone. The pandemic exploited our discontentment with our work lives. City centers were abandoned like the plague, as the freedom from skyscrapers, commutes, and an obscene amount of business travel gave time back to families to reconsider the rest of their lives. The pandemic's great reset button placed more people in rural areas, slower paces of life, and birthed new passion-based entrepreneurial ventures. In a way, we woke up from a hypnotic state. However, a recent announcement by Starbucks prompts us to ponder the question, what pandemic? My response to this return to the office announcement is one of applause for the process Starbucks took. But I'm challenging all families to undertake a similar assessment of the values that matter the most. Are some of our most popular and admirable brands like Starbucks forgetful, stubborn maybe, or actually smart? When we come back, I'll dive more into what we learned during the pandemic, what we can learn from Starbucks' recent announcement, and what we can do to continue to fight for the values that matter the most to us. We'll be right back. You are listening to the Work Life Eubiosis podcast with your host, Charleston Edwards. If this is your first time here, welcome. My goal is simple: to eradicate burnout and to bring harmony, purpose, and balance to this world, starting with the family. My hope is that this show and the story shared will provide encouragement and ideas that will be valuable to you on your journey to work-life freedom. So let's dive in to today's episode. Five years ago, I predicted that one day we would return to normal. Not the new normal, but life as we knew it before 2020. 2-hour commutes, endless travel, 60-plus hour work weeks, competition to the top of the ladder, all while compromising our most important values. It would only be a matter of time before we forgot when the world stopped. We would get back to our rat race tendencies. Companies that didn't embrace remote or hybrid work would one day say, "What pandemic?" and demand people to get back to the office. I understand that what pandemic can be quite triggering. The pandemic was quite awful for millions and millions of people. However, in the context of this work-life platform, the pandemic marked a turning point in exploring work and life in a completely new way. Some people thrived, some people burned out, some quit. This cosmic shift in human collaboration forced many corporations to rethink their work structure. Let's add Starbucks to the list of companies raising the flag of what pandemic. Employees are being called back to the office. In light of all that artificial intelligence is doing to disrupt employment, it's a bit surprising to still see post-pandemic aftershocks of the remotes versus the commuters, when the new war, or new friend, pending how you view it, for jobs is against the artificials. But my thoughts have evolved. As a long-time nomadic worker, I no longer see being remote as the hill to die on. It's not the right fight. In fact, though Starbucks' decision to get people back in the office is not for me personally, and is also in the minority when it comes to the office first policies, I have shockingly changed my tune and believe Starbucks is doing the right thing for them. Yes, I still cringe at the thought of Starbucks corporate returning to the office. However, after seeing that they are trying to reconnect as humans again, both in-store and at the corporate level, I can understand that they want the same thing that I do: to be human, to create as humans, to collaborate with humans, to value humans, to be known as a safe place for humans. That's the core value of Starbucks, and they are trying to repair a brand that's declining rapidly, starting with human connection. Making a decision from a corporate level and bringing people back to the office is not an easy one, but I do argue it's a necessary one. When assessing such a divisive topic, organizations have to take the time to revisit their mission, values, goals, technology, customers, stakeholders, trends, and the future. It's quite natural to see different outcomes from this type of assessment. Hence, we've seen a wide array of outcomes amongst the Fortune 500, ranging from remote first, being at 5%, to in-office first, being 11%, to the most popular being hybrid solutions at 84%. However, what bottom line first focused companies often overlook is the employee, the human being. Are we valuing our workforce? Are we giving space to the souls of the mission to be human, to nurture the family, to pursue hobbies, to be creative, to find the field that makes those humans more productive? I can't answer this for Starbucks, but these are questions that must be asked even more, especially if the call is to have people in the office full time. What comes first, the profit or the people? In addition, corporations have to realize that saying what to pandemic is still dangerous to retention. Poor retention is detrimental to the bottom line. Pandemic was a wake-up call for workers who chose to see the silver lining. To put it simply, once workers got a taste of working full-time from home or anywhere, many realized that they would never return to the office again. The value of flexibility was and has been reborn. Yet, it is still grossly underestimated by our largest corporations. The rapid turnover continues to occur. Again, though I am rooting for the forever remotes, this does not mean that going back to the office is a bad thing. Companies like Starbucks have values, missions, and goals that require different solutions to collaborate. Not every workplace can thrive off a fully remote policy. This is where Starbucks has slowly and methodically examined what's most important for them to succeed. As much of the world is starting to replace humans with AI, Starbucks is retooling with their origin, the human. Time will eventually tell if they can grow again. Their decision just may backfire. They will need to examine more than just getting back to the office, but how they value their number one commodity, the human. There will be tension and resistance from those who want to maintain their flexibility. We've seen that in other instances of blowback to similar announcements. However, what Starbucks is doing correctly is asking the right question that we can all learn from, and that is, what do we value most for the success of our mission? As corporations assess, define, and redefine their core values, so should we as humans, as families. The most important organization in the world is the family. Therefore, why aren't we implementing more effective organizational manifestos at home? Families can significantly benefit from understanding their core values and crafting their own mission statement. Even if someone is a single-person household, having a mission and a well-defined purpose in life is at the core navigating this world with confidence. When a family can fully evaluate the season of life and all the most important variables, it becomes easier to navigate a society dominated by a different set of values, which is typically geared towards making money. For a company that's looking to survive, the win-win starts with value in the workers, the families, the humans. And we, the humans, get to choose how we live in alignment with our internal values. So if it's Starbucks, Amazon, Walmart, or any other corporation that's requiring in-person work for their core values, this is the opportunity to ask if working for them aligns with my core values. There's no one correct answer, and everyone must do the work to determine what's best for them. The Great Resignation was a symbol of people who re-examined their values and made decisions for their health, family, or a realigned purpose. This was beneficial for our culture. Something needed to wake up humanity out of the hypnotic state of the hedonic treadmill. Of course, I wish it didn't have to come through a pandemic, but through all trials, there are silver linings. Whatever the cause of our new perspective on the fragility of life, everyone received a wake-up call to seek our own version of a fuller life. Own Your 5 to 9 was one of those beautiful birth pains, and it's why I'm here. I do not want you to forget what it's like to live a fulfilled life that prioritizes the values that matter the most. When we can work from a place of meaningful purpose, service, and humility, it's a win-win for both the organization and the individual. The data has long told us that though our work, careers, and paychecks seem like the most important things right now for survival, it's actually our workaholic tendencies that rise as the top regret when we reach the end of our lives. All of us will look back when we're old, if we're fortunate enough to have this type of reflective moment, and ask, did I spend my time well? Was I faithful to my calling? Did I live on purpose? So this may leave someone hearing this asking, what are my values? There are many resources out there to get a full listing of the world's most popular values to choose from. I also have a resource, and it's called Who's Home? It's a physical tool in the format of a workbook that not only examines your values, but it audits your time, your goals, your dreams, your finances, your kids' personality types, and then pulls all your information into one clean family strategic plan. This plan gives your most important organization, being the family, a mission, purpose, and a project plan of how to do life together. The workbook's primary goal is to save you from the chaos, franticness, and burnout that comes from the full participation in the rat race. If you're interested in picking up a copy, you can visit ownyour5to9.com. No matter if it's a move, career change, returning to the office, or getting on the same page as a family, here are a few questions from the workbook to consider with you and your family, especially as it relates to values. Do we have clarity about our primary purpose in this season of life? What values do we stand for, and is our schedule aligned with those values? Are we cultivating the interests of our kids and our own purposes? Are we satisfied with how we utilize our time as a family? What is the end goal for our kids when they depart home? What does a community look like for our family? Is it to be closer to extended family? Is it walkability? Is it fast-paced? Are school systems or homeschool a priority? Do I want to nurture relationships with neighbors? Do we want more land? What do we want to contribute to our community, and what skills and resources do we already have? Do we want to commute? And if so, what does that do to the dynamic at home? No matter how you answer any of the above sample questions, I believe the most critical question to ask as a working parent navigating different values of an employer is this: if we do or don't move for a job that demands more time physically in the office, would we still be happy with the culture of our home and the purpose we are living out in the community? Let's reevaluate and conclude with a look at what else Starbucks can do. What I appreciate about Starbucks' decision is that under their new mandate, Fridays in the office are not mandatory. Fridays are insanely special for many reasons, but mostly because it's the top day of the week, the work week, that employees want more flexibility. Attire, location, and or being off the clock. This is a significant first step in reading the room, Starbucks. When a company helps its employees establish personal boundaries, it will pay off in the long run. And speaking of payoff, they are also offering a payout for those who choose not to accept the new in-office mandates. This, too, is a good sign. And on a related note, Fast Company just released an informative article that highlights how boundaries can make employees more valuable at work. The purpose of their article was to present practical ways for executives to protect their time and energy for the work that matters the most. Time to actually work is monumental for employees who want nothing more than to succeed within the time allotted. Late night email marathons, back-to-back meetings, and endless travel are all traps to meaningful productivity. So here are 3 takeaways from the Fast Company article that I want to leave with you. Alignment over availability. Be careful of always saying yes if the yes does not align with the job title, description, or personal values. Number 2, value-based scheduling. This is all about time blocking the most sacred times to do deep work uninterrupted, daily and weekly. And number 3, communication clarity. This is being politely proactive in expectations of response times, boundaries, and communication platforms to utilize. This is also building trust and healthy boundaries. Time will tell if Starbucks will value the human as they reintegrate back into the office. However, if they or any company can implement these disciplines of time alignment, smart scheduling, and clear communication from the top with healthy boundaries, a positive ripple effect will ensue, making that workplace a great place to work. Meanwhile, don't forget to pick up a copy of Who's Home so you can also make your home a great place to live. Visit ownyour5to9.com for more information. Thank you for listening to the Work Life Eubiosis podcast, part of the Work Life resources created by Own Your 5 to 9. I hope that you have found encouragement and a few ideas to strengthen your journey to purpose, freedom, and balance. Have you overcome burnout and found a new way of life? Millions around the globe are still at the risk of burnout and losing it all. And your story may be the one that sparks not only a dream, but action. Visit ownyour5to9.com for more information and submit your story. While you're there, join the Work Life Eubiosis newsletter and receive additional resources weekly right to your inbox. If you enjoy this podcast, take time to subscribe, rate, and leave a review. Share it with a friend or loved one. Remember, the most important organization in the world is the family. Let's do our part to strengthen it. Thank you for listening.